In this video, we will understand how to test i18n model locally. We can replace the English text by Spanish using i18n model. What we will learn in this video. We will learn the global declaration of i18n model. We will also learn about change the global i18n model based on the selected browser language. So there would be a logic that we would write. If else if statements, logic writing we will do in the app.controller.js file. Logic building in browser console and test. Before implementing changes in the app.controller, we can test our code in the console level in the browser and we can test. This is what we are going to learn. We will also learn how to put the breakpoint and debugger in our code and write the code in the console and test. Creation, there would be creation of application i18n underscore es dot properties file where we will keep our Spanish text and we will do the logic building in the app controller on init function. Let's see in a practical way. Right now we have only one i18n dot properties file where we have declared the English translation, the English text. And now we need to create another file here. Right click on the folder, create a new file. And this time we will create a file for Spanish text. So I will write i18n underscore es. This is the way how we write the Spanish text file. This is the standard way to create the file. Dot properties i18n es dot properties, and the file is created. Right now the file is empty. So what we do, we copy the same file, Control A and Control C, and we paste it here because this i18n properties file carrying the English text. So in the similar way, this i18n properties file should carry the Spanish text. And later we will do the configuration. So app properties would be the same for label and for header and for text. Now we need to replace this text by the Spanish text. So I would remove it from here, go to the Google Translate. This is not the good way to translate, but for now we can do it. But in the actual production application, we take the written text from the client. But right now we are just translating it using Google Translator. I copy this.
Mis datos bancarios.
Not sure what was that. Okay. In the similar way, I have to do it for the app description. I have to remove this from here, the text. I need to paste it here and I need to find out how we can write it inside the Spanish. Now I need to copy the Spanish text and I need to paste it. What I'm doing, I'm replacing the English text by these Spanish text. But doing it for all the entries in this file would be a little longer. So I have already created the text. I just copy it and I just paste it. Control, select all and paste. Now the text is converted into the Spanish because I converted it because doing it one by one for all would be difficult. But I hope you got the idea. Now we have our properties file ready. Now let's run the application once. Cd my bank underscore details npm run start and hit enter. Now our application would be running on the local host till the time application is running. Now what we will do, we will actually put one debugger in our application to stop the code execution. Right now the code execution is happening and the application is loading and working fine. Now what I do, I will stop the execution using a debugger. Earlier we did it by right click on the application, going by to inspect. Then inside the sources, we were finding where our application is. So it is running on the 8080 port. So ideally it should be here. Inside this, there is a controller. Inside this, we have the app controller. Open this file. This file is already open. Now here we can put the breakpoint like this. In the last video we have seen it. Now I tell you the another way to stop the code execution without putting the breakpoint here. On the application level you can write something called debugger. And wherever you will write the debugger, it would stop the code execution immediately. I also put one alert as I can say this is on init function block. So this function block, this is a function block for on init inside these two curly braces, and whatever we are writing here would run. So on init is a lifecycle method of SAP UEFI, and it will run as soon as the application gets load. When the controller is getting loaded, this is the first function that would call. This is the first function uh, which block would be executed. So go to the app title. If you will notice, this is on init function block. It means this particular function is getting called. So this alert is getting called. After the alert, we have put a debugger. So close it. Sorry, I mean see it, the breakpoint got triggered automatically. Now our application breakpoint got triggered, so code execution is stopped on debugger, and we haven't put any breakpoint on these numbers. So this is the use of debugger. You can utilize it to stop the code execution anywhere you want, and then you can test it in the console, whatever you want to test. I go to console, I clear the console. I can test whether my i18n model is working. I can write this dot get honor component dot get model. Inside this, I can give the model name. First, understand why we are calling this .get honor component. It means we are calling the entries of manifest.json file. When we write this .get honor component, this is our honor component in the manifest.json, and we are actually calling this file. Now, from this file, we can call any entry, but right now, if you want to access anything, you can access from this .get honor component. I want to access this model section because here we have declared a global model, the default model i18, and this is declared here. So if I want to get the i18n, whatever inside this model, we have given a bundle name also. Bundle name is nothing but the path to the file. com.sap.mybookdetail. This is the namespace that we selected initially. This is the path of the application. What this particular three words means, it comes till web app. com.sap.mybankdetails is the path to come to web app folder. From this mybank underscore details application to web app folder, this is the path. Then inside web app folder, we have i18n folder. That's where they have written i18n. And then they are giving the path of the application, the name of the application. The end one is the name of the file. So in i18n, if you will notice, there is a file i18n.properties. So how we have declared the model here, same way we have to declare one more model for i18n underscore es for Spanish text, and we have to give here the name of the application is i18n underscore es. But before that, let me show you something. Right now, this is a model which is declared, and this is the i18n. This is the name of the model. So I copy this name, I go here and I say this dot get honor component, get model is the function, so we are getting the model. Now inside model, which model we want? We want i18n, so I paste it here, and the i18n model is available. But what if I do, I say that I want to load the Spanish text, but there is no model available. So first we have to create a model available. First we have to create a model. So just see where this is curly braces is closing, copy it, and after comma paste it as it is. So there should be a comma after that, after this new model that we have created, and I give it a name i18n underscore es Spanish. This is the name of the model. This is not the file name we are mentioning. File name we have to change here because in this model, I don't want to load the i18n file. I want to load the i18n underscore es.properties file. So com.sap.mybankdetail is the path to the web app folder, and then i18n folder. So inside i18n folder, I want to access i18n underscore es.properties. So what I will do, i18n underscore es I can write. We don't have to pass the extension name, only i18n underscore es is enough. Now I save this. And before that, I can show, since I haven't saved it, if I will access i18n underscore es, it won't work out here. I just should complete the code execution. Now it will refresh again. Again, the debugger is there because we have added in the file level on the controller on init function. So first that alert would call, and on the debugger, the execution would automatically stop. Now it got stopped. I go to the console, and on console I will press Control L. I will clear the console, and this time I don't want to get i18n, but I want to get i18n underscore es, this model, because this time this is the model name. I copy this, go here, and see if i18n underscore es model is working. Let's access some of its properties. If you go to the i18 underscore es, there is a property called app title, and this is the value of app title. I want to access this. Let's copy this app title property, and by arrow up button, you can get the code what you have written. Get model dot get resource. Resource bundle is the actual file. Get resource bundle. Then then we can put get text, and inside the get text we can pass this app title property, and you will see this time it is giving us the Spanish text, not the English text. Why it is happening? If I can show you, because we are changing the model name. Whatever the model name we will pass here, it will provide us that value. If I pass the i18n model, then it is providing me for the same property, it is providing me the data of English. For the same property, it is providing me the data of Spanish. It is happening because of these two model names. Now I think you have got the idea how I can get it here. Now what I want to do is I just clear this part, and I want to test what is my browser language. And to get the browser language, we can write navigator dot language. Right now the browser language is Spanish, yes, right? If it is English, then it comes like en-us, something like this, something like this it comes, right? But right now it is yes, it means it is Spanish, right? So ideally what should happen, whatever the text, since we have the text file, we have the text file here, we have all the text available in Spanish language. So what I want, if I just proceed it, what I want, this text should automatically convert it into the Spanish text. And to do that, what I will do this time, I will do a manual refresh of the application, and I will write a function which can do it for me, do the same thing for me, which can actually do it in the onInit function. I will write before the application gets loaded. Now debugger would be trigger, and the code execution is stopped. So here I'm writing a, in the console we will write something called that one condition of if navigator dot language is equal to es, means Spanish. What you do, you show me which model is available. So I can say variable i18n model is equal to this dot get owner component dot get model, and this time I'm passing the model as i18n underscore es, the Spanish model. Okay, this is, so this we are saving inside the variable i18n. Now if you will press shift enter, you can actually enter and the code execution will not happen. So always remember, when you write too many lines, always hold the shift and press enter, it will work fine. Okay, you don't need to press the enter directly, else the code execution will happen. Now I have my i18n Spanish model. So in this, here we are getting the model from the owner component. Same way we can set the model. There are two functions, standard functions, get model and set model. So what I do now, this dot get owner component dot set model. Instead of doing get model, I'm setting the model. And what I'm setting the model, this i18n model, because now inside this variable we have our entire Spanish i18n model. So I pass i18n model here to set the model, and now I can hit enter. Why this code execution happened? Because the navigator.language is actually ES that we have checked previously. I'm storing the i18n model first inside a variable, and then I'm for the entire application, for because this dot get owner component means the path of manifest. So what I'm saying, that this dot get owner component to the manifest, saving this model, setting this model, and if I will execute the code now, if I will just remove the breakpoints and execute the application code from here, you will notice the application is getting loaded. Okay, but it is not getting loaded, but it is not loaded as Spanish text, that I need to take care why it is not loading. Okay, what if I just remove this part, and okay, there is some problem, this dot get owner component. is not a function. Why? This dot. Okay, this dot. Okay, it is not a function because the code execution is done, and we have to do a manual refresh once, and then we can do that again. Okay, debugger got triggered. I go to my console. First, we need to clear the console, and here I'm writing. First, I'm getting the i18n model by using this dot get owner component dot get model by passing the i18n underscore es model name, and then I'm setting the model for entire application i18n model. So this would be my default model from now, and I hit enter, execute this code, and press the debugger, and you will notice the text is not changed. I'm actually not sure why it is happening, so I need to figure it out why it is happening. We have the ES, i18n ES resource model. We have the i18n ES as a resource model, but why it is not working? This is a problem. What if I do empty cache and hard reload? Code execution will again stop. Okay, I tell you why it is not working. It is not working because here we are passing the setting the model as i18n, but the binding that we are doing on the XML level, if I can show you quickly, binding of i18n we are doing with the i18n property, right? So we need to pass this property also inside here as a second parameter. I can say it's i18n, and I can hit enter, and you will see this time the text is converted into the Spanish. It is automatically converted. If I will see this, if I will open anything, see the text is automatically converted into the Spanish. If I will refresh it, again the same text will load, the English text. But since I'm setting the model on the runtime, I can actually check whether it is a Spanish model, how the Spanish model would look if I will apply the Spanish model. Okay, the code execution is stopped on debugger. Now here we will write something called this dot get owner component dot get model. Get model is a standard function. I tell you what is the meaning of get owner component. Get owner component means we are fetching the manifest.json file. This is the meaning of the get owner component. Get owner component refers to this particular manifest.json file where we have all of our configuration of the application globally, what we have configured globally, whatever the libraries we have assigned, we can access them, and the model that we are assigning. So get model is a function which is getting the model. It means it is coming here and taking the model from here. So these are the model names i18n, i18n underscore yes. I copy the model name, I go here, and I pass the model here, right? But it won't work. Why it won't work? Okay, get model will work. So get model is working fine. Now I will have to set this model globally. So what I will write, this dot get owner component dot set model. How we have the get model, we have the one more function called set model. And what I want to set it here, I want to say, I want to set the model here. So this dot get owner component dot get model, and inside the model I'm passing the model name I have copied, the Spanish model. So what I'm doing, I'm setting the model, and which model I'm setting, for that I have to get the model. So I'm getting the model i18n es, and I can set it like this. But when we set the model, it won't work actually, because we have to pass the i18n property name also. Because if I can quickly show you in XML level, we have binded the i18n property with all the controls. So in that case, as a second parameter in this set model function, we have to pass it what is the name of your model. So what I do, I put this inside the variables and I can call it i18n model is equal to this dot get owner component dot get model, and here I can pass my model name i18n underscore es, and setting it inside a variable. By hitting shift enter you can move down or move up. If you will hit enter, the code execution will happen. But before the code execution, what I want to show you is that now I will set the model on the global level, and to set anything on the global level we have to utilize the standard function called this dot get owner component dot set model function. So it will set the model. Now, where is our model? Our model is inside this variable. So what I will do, I will pass this variable as the first parameter. This is my model, that you set this model, this Spanish model, on the component level, and you give it a name i18n, because in XML, I have binded it with this property. So the model, in order to work, that this model should work, I can pass this i18n name and I can hit enter. And now if I will do the code execution, you will see the entire code is changed into the entire properties. Everything is changed into the Spanish text. Now the English text is not visible. If I open my fragment dialog, the text is converted automatically into the Spanish. I think the confidential details, this is not getting converted. Maybe the confidential data won't be there, but still we can check. I can copy, I can go in my i18n property, I can find what is the actual property name. Okay, so in i18n file, confidential detail is not there. Okay, let me check if i18n, if confidential detail is not there. This was inside the fragment, in the more detailed fragment, I think. Now this is the confidential detail because i18 is also not binded. So what I do, I cut it and I go and I check for the translation. This is the translation for confidential detail. I copy this and immediately go to my Spanish property, es.properties file, and in more detail fragment I say this is called the Spanish tags for what was the name? It was in English. We can find it. Confidential detail. Okay. So first let it do, let's do it for English text, confidential detail. I can call it CONF confidential detail is equal to this. This conf detail is the short name. This short name we have to put here as a binding, and binding we are doing i18n is greater than this text. Now the binding is done. We have the text in Spanish, we have the text in English, but this property we have to add in the Spanish file also. I copy this and I add it just before this test. This is good, and I save. Now again the application is getting loaded. Now debugger is stopped. Again that execution we have to do because we are doing it on the runtime. So by pressing the arrow up button, I can get it and I can hit enter. The everything would be converted into the Spanish text. Okay, I have to do it again because the file is loading again. Let me just remove this and get it and hit enter. And if I will do the code execution, the text is converted into the Spanish text. Everything. This button text also, and now it is coming as, because we have recently added. So anytime if you find this kind of issue in application that somewhere the text conversion is not happening, this is the way that you can resolve this. You can actually make it happen for any file. Always check for the properties if property exists or not. That's how you can change it. But right now whatever we were doing it on the console level. If I can write if condition here, that if navigator dot language is equal to en English, or right now our browser language is es Spanish. So now in this if condition I can write the same thing. Okay, okay, I didn't copy that actually, so I cut it from here. Okay, this I'm executing first. but we have to refresh it in order to do it. So let's copy this part and directly do the, yeah, this part we can copy and we can execute it in the controller level. In our app.controller file, you have to go, and here we will write the logic. Now we will remove this alert because we don't need it anymore. Debugger we required, and after debugger, after the code execution will stop, we will write our code. So here I'm writing a condition called if, and I'm writing navigator dot language is equal to es Spanish. Create my model like this variable model and set the model, and which model we are setting, es, right? And now let me format it once, because then it would look more good. I think it is looking more better now. Okay. Now what I will do, I will write one else condition, that else, and whatever we are writing inside the onInit method, because onInit method would call the first. So in else block, I'm putting the same code, but I'm changing the file name here, instead the model name, instead of Spanish model, I want the normal default model i18n. For what condition? When the language is not Spanish, right? And let's see if it works or not. Now we are not making any changes here. We are removing this console screen. We are just opening the application. Nothing we are doing now. So as per our code, every time we refresh the application, only the Spanish text should be visible. English text won't be visible anymore because it is reading a condition. Now let me show you how it is happening. Now we will see the debugger will automatically stop the code execution, and then we will see how it is working. The code execution would automatically stop here. Okay, because we have put a debugger. Debugger is there. By clicking on this arrow symbol, you can execute the code line by line. This is our code. Let's execute it. By hovering the keys, you can check what is inside it. So navigator.language is ES. It is equal to ES. It means this condition should be true. If I select all, it should be true. Condition is getting true. That's the reason this particular code block is executing. Now let's execute one more line. Now we are here in the i18n model. Right now it is undefined because the code execution is not happened. So I just do one more line execution. Now if I will hover the i18n model, it will give me the model details. Inside the O data, we can find which model it is. Inside the, it is giving us the path. It is the Spanish model, right? Because we are passing the Spanish model name here. Now we are setting this dot get owner component till here. Inside this, we are setting a model, and in the model, we are passing the model name. Wherever we are storing the model inside this variable, and we are passing a name alias of i18n. And this code also I can execute. Else a condition will not be executed, and I can set it. And if you will notice, the code is whatever we are displaying on the UI is actually coming in the Spanish text, not in the English text. So this is a way we can test. We can put else if condition also, one else if condition, else if inside else if we can put more condition, that if navigator dot language is equal to en English, what should happen? This i18n code should run. Else condition we can put, and we can say that by default also load the application text in the English. If it is English, load it in English. If it is not English, not Spanish, by default load the English. But if you will see, this code is actually, it is working fine. There is no problem in the code. If we will refresh the code, it will work fine. If I just refresh it again, there is no problem in the code. Okay, by clicking this button, if it is blue, the code, if debugger is there, debugger won't be triggered. If you don't keep it, then the debugger would trigger. If you just press this blue button, if it is blue, then the debugger won't work. This is the meaning. Now application text is loading in the Spanish. I go here. If you'll see, this code is little messy. So let's not make it too much messy and make it little cleaner. And to do that, what we do on the top, we can define one variable. We can say this is app app language. Okay, app language is equal to, and I can write, okay, only one variable I can define, app language. Okay, and this particular text, this dot get owner component dot set model, this I'm removing for all the condition, because I will put it after the else block. After the else block. After else, I will write this that set this model. And what is this i18n model? We can keep the i18n model also in zero, but if I can give it a name, every i18n model, if I can change, if I, sorry, not i18n model. What I do now, I am passing this i18n underscore es as a model name. So we need to pass this model name, and I can say one place I can say that you copy this code also. You remove it actually from all the places. You remove it from all the places. Okay, and at the end you can place it. Okay. And what I say is that this value, this model value, this value you make the dynamic value, and you call it app language. Okay, app language we have defined on the top, and we are storing the value of app language. Now you can pass if it is English language. So app language should be equal to the model name you can pass i18n underscore es. Okay. If the navigator dot language is English, then you pass app language as a i18n. If it is else, if it is not Spanish, not English, then also you pass app lang as a. So now what is happening? We are reading the condition. We have made this value as dynamic. So we are just passing the model name as a hard-coded string. Okay. So what will happen? The code execution would take lesser time, and this is more optimized code. So writing optimized code is the most important. It is very important because it hampers the application performance. So always write the optimized code. Now this code is very much optimized, and this code will work fine as it is. And as per the modern standard, you can actually remove these curly braces also, because these curly braces are no longer required. It actually makes the code more readable. So from all the places you can remove. Earlier we have kept because I wanted to display it in the simplest way, but here this is how it looks. Now I can format my document and everything is aligned. Now this code looks really nice. Now here is a code that we have written to convert the, you can put a semicolon if you want. If you don't put, it doesn't make any problem. Here you can write one comment. To write the comment, you need to press double slash, or you can say slash star for multi-line comment, and you can say checking browser language and setting the global language, or you can say global resource model. Okay, and then you can put star again and slash again. Now this is called a comment, where on the top and bottom, both the places we can write this comment, right? And now if you will notice, our application should be working fine. It is working fine right now. My browser language is selected as Spanish. That's why it is converting into Spanish. If I set the navigator dot language as en, it will load the English text again. Let's do it. Open the console. On debugger, refresh it manually. On debugger, this application code execution will stop. And before that code block, which is getting triggered right now, what I will say, if I can quickly show you the code, what our code is doing here. Our code is creating a variable, then checking if the navigator dot language is English. Right now it is English. So I go to console. Code execution is stopped on debugger. Go to console, clear the console, and I write navigator navigator dot language is equal to assignment operator I'm using is equal to, and I can say en. Okay. Now if you will notice, the navigator dot language is not the en, it should be es now. Okay. Okay, it is still en. So what I do, it is still es. Not sure why it is not setting up. I think we can't set the global values like, okay, it is also, I think I have to put double equal to en, then it might work. No, it is checking. I think we have to put triple equal to here. No, only one assignment operator, but it still is not putting it as ES. Oh, it is already ES. But why it is showing here ES? It is showing ES only. Okay, okay, okay. So what I do, I change the app. I put the break. Okay, it will execute here also. What I do, I change this app language to i18n and it will change into the English. I hope you are understanding what I'm doing. i18n. Now the English text would load. Should load. Okay, so our text is English now. So this is how you can test the model locally. You can write a very good function here, which can check your browser language. And let me show you how to change the browser language. You can go to the settings by clicking on the right top three icon, go to the language, and here you can select any language that you want to select. Right now, it was coming English. Now it will relaunch. I can't do else. Our recording will stop. Everything will stop. So if you will do relaunch, the language navigator dot language would come as English, and it will always check before loading the application. One thing we can do is that we can remove the debugger for any production ready code. We don't keep the debugger there. So we will remove the debugger. For now, instead of removing, I will comment the debugger. This is the whole thing that I wanted to discuss with you. Now in the next video, we will learn about the JSON model. JSON model is a very important concept in SAP UFI. So let's discuss about the JSON model in the next video. Till the time, happy learning. Thank you so much. Bye bye.